Hi, I'm Mr. McMillan. As you can see, I've been pretty busy during the Easter holidays, but I have managed to squeeze in just enough time to put together a few tips on how to prepare for your exams. 1 week to go. At least a week before the exams are due to begin, you should sort the following things out. 1. Get a pencil case. You will only be allowed to have a clear plastic pencil case, so if you can get one, then get one. If you don't have one, then you could just use a clear sandwich bag as an alternative. 2. Get some pens. You really can't have too many pens. Okay, maybe this is a few too many, but better safe than sorry, I say. Realistically, 3 or 4 is probably enough just in case a couple of them run out. You should also make sure that they are black and that you are comfortable using them. This may sound a bit extreme, but I would recommend a quick trip to your local WH Smith between now and the exams to try out some different pens, and then when you find one you like, buy a pack of them. They don't have to be expensive. I find the standard Bic ballpoint pens are very reliable. The exam though is not the time to start using a fancy new fountain pen which might turn out to be uncomfortable. You don't want to be doing this in the exam. In fact, I would avoid ink pens altogether in case you spill an ink cartridge. 3. Any other equipment. Depending on the exam, you may need maths equipment, pencils, calculators, colouring pens. Now is the time to make sure you find out what you need well in advance of the exam, get the correct equipment and keep it in your pencil case. 4. Some drinks. Nope, no energy drinks I'm afraid. And definitely no fizzy drinks. That's better. You're only really allowed water, but it's perhaps a bit too big. It is important to stay hydrated, but not so much that you need to go to the toilet halfway through the exam. Also, it's probably better to have a normal lid rather than a sports lid. Finally, make sure you cut off the label so you can't write Pythagoras' theorem on the inside. 5. Get some pre-exam snacks. No, not a big chocolate bar. It is good to get a little energy boost not long before the exam, but you don't want to have a sugar crash about half an hour later. Something like a breakfast bar is probably best as it's more slow release energy to get you through the exam. 6. A mascot. This may depend on your school's policy, but I'm pretty sure pets aren't allowed anywhere, sorry. It could be a cuddly toy, it could be an old toy or a memento, or even a photo of a nice memory. Look, that's me on my first day of school. It doesn't really matter what it is as long as it helps you to remain positive throughout the exam. So what to do on the day before the exam? Obviously, I'd imagine the day before any exam you'll be mostly revising, but here are a few things to avoid doing. Firstly, don't stay up too late. All the evidence shows that last minute cramming doesn't really help. Get to bed and try to get 8 hours sleep. Work out what time you need to be up in the morning and then work your way backwards to work out what time to go to bed. For example, if you have to be up at 6:30, then go to bed at 10. That gives you 8 hours sleep plus a spare 30 minutes to get to sleep. If you're nervous, it will take you longer to drop off. Try to get into a routine of what you will do the night before every exam. This will enable you to feel calmer about the exam and probably get a better night's sleep. Also, research shows that you should avoid looking at any sort of electronic device or screen in the 30 minutes before you go to bed. So turn off the TV, the laptop and your mobile phone. If you do have to leave your phone on as it's your alarm, make sure you put it onto a do not disturb mode. You don't want to be woken up in the middle of the night by a bunch of notifications. Secondly, in the busy few days leading up to the exams, it may be tempting to treat yourself with a bit of me time or pampering, but here are some things that may end up being more of a distraction on exam day. Don't get a new haircut, don't go and get fake nails or even a fake tan. It may sound silly, but these sorts of things take some getting used to, and you don't want this to distract you in the exam. You don't want to be sat behind the person who keeps running their hands through their hair because they like the feel of their new hairdo, or the boy who keeps flicking his head to get the hair out of his eyes which is distracting you out of the corner of your eye. Try and minimise anything that might distract you on exam day. Now is not the time to wear in a new pair of shoes, try out new contact lenses, or even a new piece of jewellery that just gets in the way of your writing hand. Just wear what you would normally wear to school on a normal day. What to do on the day of the exam? Wake up on time. This is as good a start as any. If you have difficulty waking up, set an extra alarm, or better still, get someone else to double check you're awake. A little hint, if you use a phone as an alarm, then leave it across the room to get you out of bed first thing. Or even better, download one of those apps which forces you to answer a question to switch off the alarm. Breakfast. Whatever you do, even if you sometimes skip breakfast, please make sure you have a good breakfast before the exam. Nothing too greasy though, so no full English breakfast. Something with carbohydrates such as cereal or toast which will keep you going through the exam. Make sure you get to school in plenty of time. Obviously this will depend on your normal mode of transport, but if you think it will reduce your stress to get to school earlier than normal, then make arrangements to get an earlier bus or get a lift from a family member. About an hour before the exam, switch your mobile phone off. It may be part of your school policy to put phones away during school anyway, but even if it isn't, switch your phone off well before the exam. This allows you to let go of any worries or drama that might come from messages that you receive. Even well-intentioned messages from family and friends can add to the pressure and the stress level. It's probably better to leave your phone in a locker rather than taking it with you to the exam hall. If it accidentally goes off, even if it's on the examiner's table, it can be a real distraction. About half an hour before the exam, go to the bathroom and use the facilities. Remember to keep hydrated with your bottle of water, but don't drink more than you have to. 15 minutes before the exam, put away any revision notes or cards. You don't want to be cramming right up until you go into the hall. If you don't know it by now, then there's no point stressing about it. Take a few minutes to do whatever you need to make sure you are calm and focused. For some people, this may mean avoiding talking to others. It may be visualising getting a good result on results day. It may be imagining your summer holiday. Find what works for you. If you have long hair, make sure you tie it up. Even if you don't like the way it looks, it's only for the exam. 5 minutes to go. As you line up to go into the hall, remind yourself of what you're expecting to face in the exam. Perhaps visualise in your mind what the paper will look like, or what type of questions there will be. Maybe remind yourself of a practice exam question you did well on, or think of all the revision you've done. Once you are sat down, you should be given enough time to fill in the front of the paper and read the instructions. At some point during this time, make sure you have everything you need on your desk. Check the desk isn't wobbly and check your pens are working. If you have a watch, check the time on your watch matches with the time on the clock in the hall, and if not, make a mental note of the difference. Hopefully, after running through these last minute checks, you will have at least a minute or so to relax. My suggestion would be to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. There are plenty of breathing or mindfulness exercises that you might find helpful at this point, even if it's just counting breathing in for 4 seconds and then breathing out for 4 seconds. Do this a few times and hopefully it will settle you and calm the nerves. If you're a spiritual person, then it's a great time to say a quick prayer. If you're not religious, it couldn't do any harm to throw up a quick prayer anyway. Before I sign off, just to say best of luck for your exams. I hope it all goes well. Thanks for watching. I've been Mr. McMillan. If you found this useful, give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can also follow me on Twitter and subscribe to my YouTube channel.